This session shows you how to make the most of your year of service so that while you are building capacity in the community, you are also building your own capacity. The VISTA program offers a lot of resources to support your professional development, but the best way to make this happen is to start with a plan. In this session, we'll help you craft a professional development plan and also point you to resources to make it happen. Again, I'm your host, Molly Pelzer from the VISTA Training Unit. Assisting me today are our partners, Andy Clark and Scott Weinrobe from Education Northwest. You'll see us in the chat and the Q&A to assist you during today's session and to also help get your questions answered. To get us started, I would like to hear from you. Your first few weeks of service have contained a flood of information. Since you've begun getting settled into your organization, your community, and your VISTA position, tell us what is one challenge or goal that you are going to address during your service. Use the chat box to share your responses. And remember, if you can't see the chat box, go ahead and click the little chat icon at the top of your screen. So again, what is one challenge you will address during your service? You may have joined VISTA to become involved in an anti-poverty cause or to learn more about nonprofit management. Perhaps you saw an opportunity to become a better public speaker or to help a specific community that is very meaningful to you. Maybe you've identified challenges related to your work and your professional development. So if you can, take a moment to share what challenge you guys will address. And there might be many, but pick the top one, maybe two. Okay, we have some responses coming in. Thanks for those first ones to get us going. Let's see, so veterans in crisis, working with them, challenges related to recruiting, probably recruiting volunteers or donors maybe, volunteer recruitment and outreach, to aid NeighborWorks in Western PA, mobilizing volunteers, let's see, volunteer recruitment again, retaining, recognition, more veterans issues. Wow, you guys are really making this go quickly. Good job sharing all those answers. Being better at starting projects on my own from Abby. Charlotte is going to work on community engagement, which is great. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see, another VISTA is going to help launch a community kitchen for local farmers. Fantastic. More to do with volunteers. We got some financial literacy, alumni support. And what else do we have going here? Finding out what the community really needs to improve their healthy futures. Excellent. Joseph is working on outreach across cultural barriers, which can be challenging but extremely rewarding work. I'm sure that'll be a great project. Fundraising, being a better grant writer. Awesome. We're going to talk about some organizations that can assist with that. And let's see, we've got some others coming in, more to do with volunteers, strengthening relationships, data management, lack of employment, etc. Well, you guys are working on some awesome projects. Thank you so much for, first of all, sharing your responses, but also thank you for sharing your time with VISTA during this, this year of your service, which will be a really great year. So moving on, here's our agenda for today. We'll start with an introduction to 3 key tools that will guide your year of service and your professional development journey. We'll then share 4 steps you can begin now to plan and reach your professional development goals, and we'll close the session with a brief walkthrough of some important VISTA Campus features. Then we'll open up the lines for your questions. Throughout today's presentation, we'll have opportunities for you to share your thoughts and explore the VISTA Campus. So let's dive right in. Remember that your year of service is not just a year of community development, but also of personal and professional development. During PSO, you learned some of the basics of understanding your VAD, creating an individual development plan, and also navigating the VISTA campus to find helpful resources. But now comes the fun part. It's time to take your initial thoughts and turn them into action. First, let's revisit one of your most important tools. Your responsibilities as a VISTA are outlined in the VISTA assignment description, or your VAD. At PSO, you reviewed your VAD and began to think about what it'll take to accomplish it. You and your supervisor will likely come up with additional activities to support in the achievement of your objectives, and to capitalize on your unique strengths. So your VAD may be refined somewhat in the coming weeks. We want to hear from you again. So using the chat function one more time, please share what responsibilities are in your VAD. At PSO, you had an opportunity to begin identifying the knowledge and skills you'll need to be effective in your VISTA role. Whether your VAD includes fundraising, volunteer recruitment, community engagement, or event management, it's likely there are things in there that you haven't done before. So you'll need to know how to do these things, and to learn them you'll need a plan. We'll take a moment to review some of these responses before moving on. So, all right, we've got a pretty active group again. It looks like there's everything from grant writing, fundraising, donations, workshop planning, data analysis, building capacity, which is awesome, which all of us will be working on throughout this year, program evaluation, program development, monitoring, volunteer project development, volunteer services development, lots to do with volunteers again, developing skills-based volunteer programs, which is excellent, launching new partnerships and doing outreach, more on data management, learning the community, research needs of veterans, grant writing, program development, let's see, I think I already said needs assessment, but we have some more of those coming in. Assisting with volunteer opportunities listings, making a, oh, this sounds cool, pop-up farmers market, awesome. Grant assistance, job search tools, and connecting with Title I schools, etc. Wow, you guys are doing, again, a lot of great work in your VAD, so thank you all for sharing. And at PSO, you also began capturing your knowledge, goals, and skills on your individual development plan. If you have your plan handy, go ahead and take a look at it now. And if you don't have the one that you started at PSO, you can download a copy from the VISTA campus. The link can actually be found in the chat panel. Thank you, Andy. Think of your individual development plan as the bridge between your VAD and the accomplishment of your goals. You may know where you want to end up, but are a little unsure of how to get there. So your individual development plan allows you to plot your path with concrete action steps for building your skills. As mentioned, we know that you've started working on your IDP, your individual development plan at PSO, but you might not have everything filled in. So take a moment now and fill in the last box, learning opportunities and resources, if you haven't already. If you don't have anything to add just yet, that's okay, because this webinar will help you think through what tools and resources might be available to do. So take a minute to do this now. Go ahead and fill in the learning opportunities and resources if you haven't already. And you can see the example on the screen. The knowledge and skills that the VISTA wants is fundraising, and it's high priority. And a learning opportunity and resource is on the VISTA campus in the work section, and then focusing on fundraising. Okay, so you guys probably had enough time to do that. So now that you've had a knowledge goal identified, let's get set up for the remainder of the webinar. I'm sure the VISTA campus is by now a very familiar sight to you, and the VISTA campus is your knowledge and community hub for all things VISTA. In addition to providing you with resources to be successful in your VISTA duties, the campus allows you to connect with others working in your program area, even living in the same location, or possibly even facing similar questions and knowledge goals. We've identified all three tools for success: your VAD responsibilities, your IDP learning goal, and access to the VISTA campus. And now you are ready for professional development action. The next 4 steps that we'll discuss were developed after listening to other VISTAs share tips about what helped them be successful during their service. You've only been a VISTA for a couple weeks. You're becoming accustomed to new surroundings, a new workplace, and a new income level. It's important that you give yourself time to settle in and recognize that you will have questions. And remember that you don't need to know it all now, but you should know where to go to find some answers. Review the VISTA member handbook to answer any policy-based questions, And you can always contact the VISTA Member Support Unit with questions about your living allowance, benefits, or the Education Award, for example. Also, contact your state office or for support regarding emergencies, supervisor issues, or VISTA policy, and don't forget to speak with your supervisor or other team members about the community, the project you're working on, your site, etc. And some of you may even have a VISTA leader as another resource. And keep in mind that you have access to the entire VISTA community, current members, alumni, state offices, VISTA headquarters, supervisors, etc. Many of your fellow VISTAs are facing similar questions and challenges. Check out the insight that VISTAs have left on the VISTA forums, such as topics on recipes, tips on reducing common household costs, and more. You can also ask a question or just offer your own advice. VISTA also offers webinars on navigating your year of service. We regularly cover topics such as living on the living allowance, using your education award, and also understanding your health care. You can find recordings of all of these webinars or sign up to attend a live event on the Webinars for VISTA page. And VISTA is here to support you, and it's important to feel comfortable in your organization where you'll be spending most of your time as a VISTA. If you haven't already, make sure you schedule a regular check-in meeting with your supervisor. Having regular meetings with your supervisor is essential to the success of your VISTA goals. This allows you to align your work with organization priorities, soak up as much knowledge as possible, and also ensure that your project is sustainable. Next, take some time to explore what's been done before. Dive into some documents that might lay the foundation for your organization, such as their strategic plan, that also talks about their mission and vision. If there have been VISTAs at your site before, review their past accomplishments. This information can be found in their past quarterly reports, which your supervisor can probably very easily share with you. And finally, take some time to get to know your coworkers. Meet with people in various departments to learn about their roles and how you can work together. One VISTA who was starting a waste reduction program at a college had lunch with the head of housekeeping. This individual turned out to be an incredibly useful ally because her staff was on the front lines of waste management, and they were able to intervene directly to ensure that compostable waste was separated to actually create compost. These contacts are also likely to have good personal connections in the community. That will help you advance your service goals. We have 2 webinars that might be really useful to you as you start your service. If you would like to learn more about crafting good communication styles and developing a productive work environment, I encourage you to view the recorded webinar entitled Managing Up, Managing Expectations. This session covers topics related to working better with your supervisor, other staff members, stakeholders, volunteers, and also community groups. This is a great skill that you will likely need now and in the future, regardless of your career path. Another really popular webinar discusses good time management practice, and whether you're challenged by creating a realistic plan, maybe you face constant distractions, or find you haven't built in enough time for others to respond, time management can really help. So learn proven techniques from an accomplished time management speaker while gaining practical strategies and tools to better manage your time. Step 2, turn your VAD into action. Once you've started making connections and identifying areas of growth, it's time to turn your VAD into action. Having a well-structured plan helps you jump into your work and plan accordingly. While you are working in the community, you may forget to record all the incredible work that you're doing. So how does one begin to create this plan? First, meet with your supervisor to review your VAD and also develop measurable goals. Again, having those regularly scheduled check-ins will help ensure goals are met and being reached, and also allows you to discuss any questions or roadblocks that might come up along the way. Make sure to keep your VAD somewhere accessible in your office. Refer back to it periodically to track your progress. Your supervisor may require you or actually recommend that you participate in additional training related to your VAD. Oftentimes, this is skills-based training that will help you obtain the necessary resources to serve more effectively. And remember that the actions you set in motion should be seen far beyond your year of service. Strategize with your supervisor to determine ways that you can document your achievements and also build upon your organization's foundation to ensure that your work continues after you leave. We developed 2 webinars focused on project sustainability, one for VISTA members and another for VISTA supervisors. We hope you will take time to view them at some point soon and also encourage your supervisor to do the same as well. So create a plan to track your accomplishments now. The VISTA Impact app is a tool that allows you to track your activities using your smartphone or your computer. Keeping a log of your activities and successes will not only help you when reports are due, but it will also give you an amazing record of your achievements to reference after you finished your service term. The Impact app is available on the VISTA campus. We'll show you how to access it during our brief campus walkthrough at the end of the presentation. We also encourage you to view a recorded webinar highlighting the VISTA Impact app, and you can, of course, find those details on the VISTA campus. And just so you know, we call it an app, but it isn't anything you'll need to download. It's just a website. So you'll learn more about the VISTA Impact app in just a bit. Step 3, take time to learn and grow. So you've begun identifying action steps and have been making connections in your community. It's time to determine ways to improve those skill sets identified in your VAD. You may not have created an asset map or a communication plan for fundraising, and that's okay because there are many resources that you can use to get started. One of the most accessible resources is the VISTA campus. Use the work section that contains self-paced tutorials covering a variety of specific skills. And as you know, VISTA also hosts webinars covering topics such as recruiting volunteers, holding effective meetings, and building community networks. While the topics do change, VISTA stores recordings of these learning sessions on the Webinars for VISTA page on the campus. VISTA also offers online courses called the VISTA Blend. These courses can be completed for college credit. Just be sure to consult your supervisor and plan your workload accordingly before taking advantage of these learning opportunities. And while the VISTA campus is always a good place to begin accomplishing your knowledge goals, remember there are many other free and reputable resources available to help you get started. Many local libraries have access to online databases and grant writing resources, and all you need is a library card. Even with all the digital and high-tech resources, libraries are still really valuable learning sites. Librarians are usually very well versed in the latest digital trend and resources. Not to mention, libraries probably have community bulletin boards that you can use to post notices for volunteers, meetings, etc., and maybe also find a recreation or social network for you to join. You can also carefully turn to the internet for free resources. Sites like Coursera and Khan Academy provide free online courses from Ivy League institutions. Check with your supervisor also to see if the organization you're with has any professional affiliations. If they are not attending any free online trainings through their memberships, you might be able to make the case for attending. Finally, take advantage of the new networks that your VISTA position will expose you to. A great place to start is with the YPN, or Young Professionals Network, because they often offer networking, professional development, and volunteer opportunities. There's even a Young Nonprofit Professionals Network. You can check out ynpn.org to find a local chapter, and if there isn't a local chapter in your area, maybe you could consider starting one. LinkedIn is another great resource for making connections, so spend some time scouring your current contacts because there might be someone who is only 1 or 2 connections away from you in your new location or your new position. And don't forget to take advantage of the networks you already have membership in, such as a regional or local alumni group. Some colleges or universities have mentorship programs or have a means of connecting you to other alumni where you can establish your own relationship. Or perhaps you were part of a fraternity or sorority that has a branch in your area. All of these groups often hold networking or social events where you can make more connections, build your skills, and more. Professional organizations are yet another great resource available to help meet your knowledge goals. In addition to connecting you with other individuals in your field, these can offer significant professional development and networking opportunities. While not all of these events and resources are free, it never hurts to see what's happening in your area and ask your supervisor if you might be able to attend. Some of these organizations have entire sections of their websites dedicated to professional development and also career advancement. Those of you in the financial development field should definitely check out the Association for Fundraising Professionals website and explore their professional development section. It includes everything from conferences and leadership trainings to Executive Institute's certification options and many more items. VISTAs working with volunteers are encouraged to look at the Council for Certification in Volunteer Administration. Review the certificate requirements now and see if it's something that you might want to do later in your career. Even if you don't complete the certificate now, you can still glean great tips and resources from their websites related to volunteer engagement and volunteer management. And don't forget about Points of Light as well as Energize Inc. Energize Inc. has tools directly related to career advancement within the volunteer management field. For those of you in communications and marketing, the Public Relations Society of America understands that nonprofits face unique challenges. Their websites, which are shared on your screen, have seminars, newsletters, and other resources devoted to helping professionals develop public relations and management skills directly relevant to the nonprofit and association environment. If your VISTA service includes developing a training program or an education series, make sure you check out the Association for Talent Development. You'll be able to subscribe to newsletters, watch webinars, and follow from leaders in the field of training and curriculum development. Additionally, if any of you are serving at a NeighborWorks organization, and even if you're not, be sure to explore the many training opportunities offered by NeighborWorks. NeighborWorks America offers training on everything from nonprofit leadership skills to professional development, community assessment, supporting minority populations, housing, finances, etc., etc. And finally, don't overlook local development opportunities such as those offered by a volunteer center, the United Way, a Chamber of Commerce, Toastmasters, Urban League, or national organizations that might have a local branch in your community. Chamber organizations often host professional mixers as well as events directed towards emerging community professionals. And while there might be a fee for many of the resources we mentioned, don't be afraid to ask your supervisor if you could pick one resource or training to pursue. There's also a chance that scholarships might be offered through the associations or training institutes, so it never hurts to apply. Okay, so has anyone found a free course or resource that was especially helpful? Is there an affinity group or professional organization that you think resonates especially well with your VISTA service? Go ahead and share your thoughts using your chat function. What are resources you have used for professional development? Was there a TED Talk you saw that you think everyone should watch? Go ahead and share your feedback now in the chat box. So what are some resources that you have used to enhance your professional development? So go ahead and share. Looks like we have a couple coming in. We have Coursera.com, which is a wonderful resource. LinkedIn, excellent strategy there, using LinkedIn to connect with more experienced professionals and local universities. Excellent. Another one for LinkedIn. Let's see, we have webinars, VISTA leaders and supervisors. Wonderful. Let's see, relevant organizations. Seminars are great for info and networking. That's excellent. That's a really important thing to take away today. You know, don't just go to the seminars and learn, but make sure that you're meeting and greeting with other people and schmoozing and giving away that VISTA card if you have one, or letting people know what it's like to be a Vista. Rotary clubs are great. Google and libraries are great for grant writing. Don't we know it? That's always wonderful. Local universities, junior leagues, Get Ed funding is a resource that was mentioned. Returning Vistas, excellent, wonderful opportunity there. So go ahead and take another couple seconds, and what resources have you used for professional development? Meetup, community colleges, Toastmasters, excellent. Toastmasters is wonderful in many ways. Good community events, project management course at a local church. That's wonderful to be looking for those local opportunities for resource development and professional development. Hashtags in Twitter, yep, see who you can find. Khan Academy was mentioned, that's wonderful. Well, that is excellent, everyone. Again, thank you so much for sharing, and I know there's a lot of knowledge and good tips out there. I really appreciate the time you're taking to share your insight with us. Let's go ahead and look at step 4, get connected. This is our final step. You're always a part of the Vista family. You may not have other Vistas at your site, but you can always connect through the Vista campus. Fill out your project area and interests in your campus user profile, and make sure to interact with other Vistas on the Vista forums by posting a question or even leaving a suggestion or some feedback. The Vista map can be filtered according to focus area, service start date, and role such as member, alumni, supervisor, or corporation state offices. Connect with Vista through social media such as Facebook and Twitter, and if you haven't already done so, identify yourself as an AmeriCorps Vista member on LinkedIn, and also connect to the groups available on LinkedIn. If there are other Vistas in your area, feel free to go ahead and arrange a meetup, come together face-to-face, and share what you guys are doing and learning. You can find Vistas in your area along with other alumni and leaders by using the Vista map, and think about reaching out to alumni. They often have faced a lot of the same questions and challenges that you all are, whether it be related to your life as a Vista or your work. They often know the area, and they often are very, very happy to help current Vistas. As a Vista family member, don't be afraid to show your Vista pride. You never know where you might make a connection with someone else who knows about the Vista program. Make sure you identify yourself as a Vista by putting the logo on your business card, in your email signature, and even on your organization's website, social media platform, brochures, or other communications. In the web links below, which will be posted in the chat panel, you'll be able to find places to get Vista publications and gear that you can use to decorate your office and also represent Vista in the field. And you started developing your minute message, a short speech about your organization and your role as a Vista while you were on site at PSO. Make sure to rehearse it often so that it comes easily to you and you can explain quickly what you do. There are plenty of resources on the Vista campus that can teach you about creating these messages. And also, when you guys are out and about doing your service, don't forget to take pictures and share them through your social media outlets. You never know when Vista may share or retweet your photo or service story. Once you're clear on what you're setting out to accomplish, get to know your community. This may feel a bit daunting, leaving you unsure of where to start. There are so many assets, people, places, and issues impacting your community. Start by doing some preliminary research. Oftentimes, other organizations have already done research on your community, such as a needs assessment or a needs study. Search local newspapers for articles that might give you a pulse on what is moving and shaking in your area, and research websites, blogs, or social media channels that are producing reliable content. In a community, face-to-face interaction is really vital for establishing trust. So attend social functions such as community festivals, networking events, neighborhood meetings, open houses, or even fundraisers. just being seen in the community and being supportive of other events in the community makes people want to be more invested in your work. Begin scheduling site meetings and site visits with community leaders that you've met at these events, and cast a wide net at first and take the time in the beginning of your service when you are getting your feet wet to discover new learning partners and connections. And also ask your supervisor if they could connect you with someone willing to serve as your community champion or ambassador. An ambassador is someone who can help you connect with the community. This person should be an established community member, willing to give you background on the region so you can approach your VISTA service in a more meaningful way. You'll learn much more attending events or talking to someone who knows the community, but if you don't have a community champion, don't let that stop you from exploring and learning about the areas that you'll touch during your VISTA service. To recap, here are your 4 steps to maximize your effectiveness. First, make sure to get settled into your life as a VISTA. Get to know your program, your site, and your community. Number 2, turn your VAD into action by by setting your learning goals and holding yourself accountable for reaching them. 3, take time to learn about the resources available to you both inside and outside of the VISTA campus. And finally, get connected with other VISTAs, alumni, and others who may want to know more about the program. You've heard about 3 features on the VISTA campus that will help you stay connected and informed: the VISTA Campus Benefits Hub, your learning plan, and also Learning Connections. Scott is going to switch over to the VISTA campus now to show you how to access these features, as well as any others that were mentioned during the presentation. Scott?
Okay, thanks very much, Molly. And hi, everyone. It's nice to be with you today, and I'm happy to have the chance to talk with you a little bit about the VISTA campus. So we redesigned the campus about a year ago now, and we designed it with the hope that you'll find it easy to navigate and to find the resources you're looking for. It's divided into a number of main areas. To explore the different areas of the campus, just roll your mouse over the different sections and you'll see the different topics listed under each section. I think the sections you'll find especially interesting as you continue in your year of service are Life as a VISTA and the work. So I wanted to point out a couple of specific resources just to get you started. Under Life as a VISTA, if you click on the benefits link under In-Service, that will take you to our VISTA Benefits Hub. And this page is really designed to be sort of a one-stop shop with information on all of your different VISTA benefits, including your living allowance, health care, education benefits, and so on. And it's also a good place to go if you have questions about your benefit. So as you scroll down the page, you'll see sections for each of the main benefit areas. You'll find an overview of that benefit, and then if you click on the Resources tab, you'll find links to resources that are really give you a lot more information about each of the different areas. So another link I wanted to call out in particular that Molly mentioned is the VISTA Impact app. That link is also available through the Life as a VISTA section, and if you click on Impact app under In-Service, it'll take you right to the page from which you can click this link to go to the Impact app itself. So as Molly mentioned, the Impact app is really a mobile-friendly website, and it'll work on any phone or computer web browser, so you don't need to go to any kind of particular app store to download an app to your phone. It's really just a website that's formatted to be mobile-friendly. It's also important to note that even though it's a different website and it looks a bit different than the campus, it connects to the campus for authentication, so you don't have to create a new username or password to access the Impact app. You can just log in using your campus username and password. So another new feature of the campus that I wanted to point out is your learning plan. Learning plan serves a couple of different functions. It's a way to see training that's recommended to you, and also to share training recommendations with Learning Connections. So you can find your learning plan either from the logged in homepage, you click the link right there, or you can access the learning plan really from anywhere in the campus under this menu that has your username. If you click on that, it'll give you a little drop-down menu, and you can go right to the learning plan from there. So the learning plan contains a couple of different categories. There's required learning, which is really just the training that you're assigned right when you create a campus account before you attend PSO. So this was where your required training, like your VISTA Terms and Conditions course and Civil Rights and Responsibilities, and that are part of the Starting VISTA page, were assigned before you attended PSO. There's also suggested learning, so a number of training resources from the campus are automatically assigned whenever you create an account. But in addition, when you connect with others through the campus, you can share useful resources with your learning connections, and those will also appear here in the suggested learning area. Okay. And then finally, as you explore the campus and find resources that you find useful, you can bookmark them, mark them as favorites. They'll appear here in this favorite content list, and that's an easy way to quickly find resources that you found useful before rather than having to search again for them. So to find something that you want to bookmark, let's look a little bit about how you would do that. So let's say that I'm interested in finding out information about how to really kind of best capture my VISTA service on my resume. So I'm going to type in resume, minus the appropriate accent marks, but it'll still work in the search box. So I've heard that there was a really good webinar offered on that topic. I'm going to scroll down here and use the search facets and filter down to recorded webinars, and then look through the options. And here's one. This is actually the one I was looking for. It sounds pretty interesting. Translating VISTA service to your resume and career. So I click on that. I can watch the video, or I can also bookmark it for later. And to do that, all I have to do is click the link at the bottom of the resource that says add this to my learning plan. So now when I go back to my learning plan, the next time I log into the campus, it's there, and I can kind of quickly get back to it if I didn't have a chance to watch the whole video at one sitting. Okay. I also mentioned a moment ago that you can connect with other users on the campus, and that's through our Learning Connections functionality. That you can find in a couple of ways, either through My Account or through Connect and Learn, and click on Learning Connections. So when you get to this page, you can connect with folks in a few different ways. You can search for people by their major area of focus, and as long as they've flagged that on their campus profile as a focus area, that's a way to find folks who kind of are working on kind of similar challenges to you. Or you can also just search for folks either by name or email address. So I'd like to connect with my supervisor, and her name happens to be Celia Supervisor, so I can search for her, and then once I found her, all I have to do is click this little plus link, and it'll send a connection request to Celia, and once she accepts, then I'm connected with her. And once you connect with someone, you can either suggest training to them, and that will appear on their learning plan and suggested resources, or you can also use some private messaging functionality that we have through the campus to communicate directly with your learning connections. Okay. And then finally, let me kind of show you another way that you can connect with other users on the campus. Let's say that you're looking for people in your area, either kind of fellow VISTAs or maybe alumni in your area to connect with. A great place to do that is through the VISTA map. So it's under Connect and Learn, VISTA map. You can just kind of zoom in on the map, look for the area where you're serving. And as the map comes into focus, you can click on any pin in the map. It will bring up a little pop-up dialog. Oops. Sorry, it's running a little bit slow today, but once the pop-up dialog comes up, you can click on that person's profile, and again, it'll show a little plus icon. So I apologize, we seem to be having a few technical difficulties this morning, but that's how it would work if that dialogue appeared. So with that, I want to thank you all, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the presentation back to Molly now.
Great. Thank you so much, Scott, for that awesome tour of the Vista campus. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our participants because I would love to hear from some of you again. So we covered a lot of information today. Taking into account your 4 steps for action, what is one step that you can take today after this webinar ends? Go ahead and share what that next step might be that you can take today to continue your professional development journey. Some options might be maybe you want to bookmark the member handbook on your learning plan, maybe you want to schedule coffee with a coworker, or search for the next date of a community association meeting. So what are your ideas? Go ahead and share them in the chat now. All right, so I know that I saw a couple Vistas sharing email addresses because they found a similar issue that they're both working on, which is great. So that's one thing that I think they're going to do today. And it looks like many of you already have some steps that you're going to take. So I saw go to the Vista campus more, learn about the Impact app, find other Vistas near to me, research information about the Vista Blend, spend some time looking at the VAD and the Individual Development Plan, which is excellent. Schedule some meetups, explore more Vista webinars, research professional affiliations. These are all such great opportunities and ideas. Attend community events, keep myself updated on community news. Reconnect with Vistas that you met at PSO. Absolutely. Remember during PSO we said that all of you are going to be a great resource throughout the year, so definitely reconnect and find those people on the Vista campus and set them as your connections. Registering with Vista Map, networking on the network webinars, updating resumes, set up meetings with professionals and also Vista alumni, etc. Well, those are some really great opportunities and next steps that you guys are going to take, and I'm very excited. I hope you guys are getting excited and energized about some things that you can do today. So here are some additional immediate next steps that you can take today. First, take time to complete your IDP, the Individual Development Plan. Use this webinar as well as the Vista campus to enhance and identify some goals. And if you don't have a regular meeting scheduled with your supervisor, please reach out to them and schedule one. Identify one resource, maybe it's an on-demand webinar, a self-paced course, or a helpful video to add to your learning plan that you can review in the future. And reach out to another campus user through the Learning Connections feature on the Vista campus. Finally, research a professional organization in your current field or in a field that interests you. Make sure to investigate a typical career path in that area and stop to take a look at the online trainings, the resources, and also the webinars that might be available. We've given you a lot to think about, and I'm sure that you all will have some questions. But before we get started with the Q&A, we want your feedback on this presentation. So you should now see an evaluation poll on the right side of your screen. Please take some time to answer the questions in the poll. We do want to be able to improve these webinars, and your input does help us. We do look at it. And while you're completing the evaluation, we'll go ahead and start the Q&A portion of our session. So now it's time for your questions. You can ask questions using the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen, or I'll have Monet, the operator, come back and remind us how we can ask questions via phone.
Absolutely. If you would like to ask a question from the phones, please press *1 and record your first and your last name clearly when prompted. If you would like to withdraw your question, you may press *2. Again, if you would like to ask a question, please press *1 from your phone and record your first and your last name clearly when prompted. Thank you.
Thank you, Monet. And while we're waiting for the phone questions to come online, we do have some questions I think that might come in via the Q&A panel on the WebEx. So if you would like to ask a question online, make sure that you put it into the Q&A panel, not into the chat panel. And let's see, let's see, Scott, do we have any questions that are coming in?
Yeah, Molly, there's a couple of questions right now in the Q&A that I see. So first from Tammy. Tammy was interested in the information you mentioned about project sustainability and was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about kind of recommendations on how to get a good, clear picture of what VISTAs before the Serving VISTA might have accomplished so they can build on previous work and successes.
Absolutely. That's a great question. I think it was from Tammy. And Tammy, you know, your year of service, even though it's a full year, is going to go by so quickly. So it's really important that you're not doing the same work and maybe trying the same thing that earlier VISTAs have done. So it's good to ask your supervisor for the quarterly progress reports. And your supervisor should be able to share that information with you. As you guys get into your service, you'll know what these quarterly progress reports are like, but your supervisor should be able to share them. And if you happen to be serving at a site with a VISTA, with a past VISTA that was using the VISTA Impact app, you might be able to glean some data and information from the reports that your supervisor can also share with you. Another great resource that we mentioned, which will give you some ideas around sustainability and how to approach capacity building that is sustainable. Make sure that both you and your supervisor take a look at or even review the transcript of the webinars that we did on project sustainability. Those are two really good webinars, and they really fit together very well, and they have a lot of additional information and resources that can really help you set yourself up for success early in your VISTA term. So don't wait until the end of your VISTA service, but go ahead and get that stuff taken care of and get it watched early on in your service. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Molly. I appreciate that. So let's see, there was one other question, and I believe it was from Jenna asking if there will be another webinar offered on how to sign up for healthcare benefits. So good campus resources or other information that will help folks answer questions they might have about healthcare.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. I'm going to direct everyone who has questions about healthcare to the VISTA campus. In the benefits module, there is a resources tab, and on the resources tab, I'm pretty sure that we have a webinar that discusses the different healthcare options, and you can either have one or the other. You can't fall into both categories. And there also is a recorded webinar. Another point of information, another resource is the VMSU, the VISTA Member Support Unit. And you should only call the VMSU if you don't know where to find information or you don't know how to contract the insurance contractor that works for VISTA. You probably want to call IMG International Medical Group directly, and they'll be able to walk you through the enrollment period. But remember, with regards to healthcare, you have 60 days from when you started your service in order to enroll, and sometimes there can be a lag period. So if you're at day 30 or even if you're at day 49, I recommend that you hustle and start getting this, getting your health care and your health situation sorted and taken care of.
We do not have any questions in queue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Molly. Well, we do have another question in the online Q&A. Let's see, Mario notes that currently he's the only staff person that's working, or the only VISTA that's working full-time for his organization, and asked if you have suggestions on the best way for him to track the work that he's doing.
Mario, that's something that's going to be really important. you know, each organization does it a little differently. With Vista, we're not concerned about hours per se, but I think you're very wise for wanting to keep track of everything you're doing. So give yourself a little time, maybe a week or two or the first few weeks, to see how you're spending your time and see if there's some general buckets that you might be able to put it into. Like, if you're working in volunteer, how much are you doing in recruitment, and what are some of the main steps that you're doing, and then how much time are you spending on all of them. I find that every once in a while, every few months, I like to track how I spend my days, because sometimes it's overwhelming how much time I spend on emails. So if you find that you're spending 3 to 4 hours on emails, maybe adjust how you respond to the emails or the time of day that you look at those emails. And Mario, I think a really good resource for you might actually be the time management webinar. Not that you're not amazing at managing your time, but being that you are the main person in the office, you might be able to get some really good tips and resources from that webinar to help you manage your time, and also how to most effectively use the time that you have when other people are in the office. So good luck, and thanks for serving. Okay, let's see. Scott, I see a couple questions on here. I think, well, you know what? I don't want to jump in the middle, so I'll let you continue.
Okay, thanks, Molly. Let's see. So Jocelyn asked where she can find out more information about child care assistance, and that's a great question, Jocelyn. Molly, if you have thoughts on that, you know, please share them. I'm also going to go ahead, though, and post in the chat a link to an online resource that we have on the Vista Child Care benefit, so that everyone has that resource.
Yep. The Vista Campus is, of course, a great resource, and I'll give you a couple words of caution related to the child care benefit. First of all is that it can be a very lengthy application process, and you need to do 2 applications, one for you and one will be completed by your child care provider. So make sure that you do them and do them as quickly as possible. And also, the organizations and the child care centers that are covered vary from state to state. So make sure that you call GAPC, and they're the contractor that manages our child care benefit, to get clear information. GAPC is going to be the best resource, and you should connect with them as soon as possible if you're interested in the child care benefit.
Great, thank you, Molly. So next up, Mary asked, what is a Vista card, and is it possible for Vistas to get a photo ID?
Well, you know, years ago, I think maybe back in the 70s, Vistas actually did do a membership card or a Vista ID. We don't do that anymore, unfortunately, but you know what? I would encourage you to go ahead and make one. And there might be some templates on the Vista campus for business cards that you could put your picture on. But definitely brand yourself as a Vista. Unfortunately, we don't have any Vista membership cards, but that would be really cool if we did.
Great, thanks again, Molly. Let's see, one more at the moment from Brandon, who says he's not sure if his organization's had a Vista in a long time. Definitely didn't have one last year, and at least it sounds like in speaking with his supervisor, there was no mention of a binder or past resources that had been prepared. And I guess Brandon's just wondering, is there any way you can dig deeper to try and find out if there are any other resources about the history of Vista? Thoughts on that?
Well, Brandon, make sure that you are asking your supervisor. I'm sure that you have already. Unfortunately, Vista doesn't have any Vista wouldn't be able to give you or share any of the prior reports. Your supervisor might have them, or maybe there's paper copies somewhere. And the other thing too is that even if they haven't had a Vista in a while, I would definitely encourage you to take as much action and just start blazing a path and go ahead and get yourself established as a Vista, because sometimes it's okay when there's a little break. Sometimes, maybe there's some course correcting that can be done, or just, the Vista program can change a little bit and take on a new path. So don't let the fact that there hasn't been a Vista member for a couple years at your organization prohibit or prevent you from taking any action or activities.
All right. Thank you, Molly. I wonder, Monet, if there are any questions on the phone at this point?
We do not have any questions on the line.
All right.
Great. Well, Scott, it looks like we're at the top of the hour, and I think, have we made it through most of the questions?
I think we're getting close. There may be one more. So Andy is responding to a question about Vista Blend applications. Andy is actually our Vista Blend registrar, so she can answer that question directly. There is one other question right now in the Q&A from Bidemi. It sounds like Bidemi has a question specific to his or her, I apologize, healthcare benefit situation, saying, tried to sign up for a healthcare allowance, but told me my account was inactive, eligible for Medicaid through Maryland Health Exchange, but haven't actually chosen a provider yet. Is that why? So would Bidemi want to go to IMG, or is any other suggestions on that, Molly?
Yeah, Bidemi, you're going to want to reach out to IMG. And for all of you who are trying to access the healthcare benefit and get your registration taken care of, you will receive an email once your account is activated. Until you are activated within the Vista system by the VMSU, you won't be able to access the IMG side of the healthcare benefit. So it's probably the case that you just haven't been activated by the VMSU yet, but that information should be coming shortly. So go ahead and reach out directly to IMG, and all of their contact information is available in your PSO workbook or on the Vista campus.
All right. Great. Thank you, Molly. So we did get through most of the questions. I apologize, there's a couple more that we didn't quite get to. We're at the top of the hour. But maybe we want to kind of go on and give folks a little bit of information about next steps and upcoming webinars.
Sure, yeah. So for anyone that didn't get their question answered, I apologize for that. Remember to think about some of the resources that we discussed in the webinar today. First and foremost, reach out to the other Vistas in your area or even on the other side of the country using the Vista campus. Make those learning connections. And also reach out to your supervisor. You're going to need a lot of guidance, or much more guidance, earlier in your Vista service than you will later. So don't be afraid if you feel like you have a lot of questions. Chances are those are all really good things that will help you set yourself up for success. We do have some other webinars coming up for your professional development. Later this week, on Thursday, September 10th, we are offering a webinar entitled Living on the Living Allowance. We're going to offer strategies and resources to help you live on the living allowance. We'll also do an overview of the outside employment policy and give you all to share a chance on to share your own budgeting and everyday saving trips. So check out the Webinars for Vista page on the Vista campus to register for this and other upcoming learning opportunities. We hope to see you again, and thank you so much for your service. Have a great year as a Vista. Take care, everyone.